In this example, I'm going to talk to you guys about net working capital. So first off, we always said that we're going to do a percentage of sales for our working capital for years 1 through whatever. So if it's project years 1 through 5, 1 through 3, whatever it is, we're going to do it based on percent of sales. So I'm just going to label years 1 through 5. So I have cash or years 0 through 5 right here. And sales, we're going to put those in there right now. So we didn't have any sales in year 0, but it looks like in year 1 we had 2.4 million. And then in year 2 we had 2.6 million. Year 3 we had 2.9. Year 4 we had 240, 1, 2, 3. And then lastly we had 1.9 million. One less zero. Okay. So we have those in right now, and that's what we're going to need. However, I know that I also have an initial working capital. And it says here, our initial working capital is going to be $200,000 to start this. And then I have working capital. Let's call it NWC, net working capital, whatever you want to call it. So in year 1, we're also going to do it as a percent of 10% of sales. So we're going to simply multiply the 2.4 million times the 10%. I can actually drag this across. So as you can see, 10% of 2.4 million is 240,000. 10% of 2.6 million is 260,000, so on and so forth. So now we're looking at the change in working capital. Oh, also I should make this point too. In year 5, we're going to terminate the project, which is actually going to create a liquidation of all the working capital that we have left. So in year 5, we have $190,000 in working capital. And we're going to free all of that up. So it's just equal to the negative of that. Okay? So our change in net working capital is from the year prior, or I'm sorry, most recent year minus the year prior. So I know that this one's just going to be $200,000 because I started at 200. I went from 0 to $200,000. So it's a change of $200,000. Next, we went from, well, we have 240 now from 200, right? So it's 240 minus the 200, or a change of $40,000. We went up $40,000 in working capital. Next one, we went from 240 to 260, or an increase of $20,000. And now I'm just going to drag across. As you can see, in year 3, we went from 260 to 290, or an increase of 30,000. And then in year 4, we went from 290 to 240, so that's actually a decrease of $50,000. Now year 5, it's a little tricky because I already told you about the liquidation value here. So this is going to equal the 190 minus the 240. We should probably put those in parentheses. Plus our liquidation value here. And it's negative $240,000. Now I want everyone to see this. As you can see, year 4 net working capital that I have highlighted here is 240. The change in net working capital is negative $240,000 after you include the liquidation value. This will always happen at the termination of your project for anything that we do. So a nice hint here is whatever year it is ending, either year 3, year 4, year 5, whatever year ends, you're going to look at that change in net working capital, and you hope, actually, it better work out that this matches the net working capital of the year prior, except it's the negative version or the reciprocal version of that. Okay? And that is net working capital in a nutshell, and it is pretty tough, but if you kind of like sit back and you try to look at what you're trying to solve, it gets a lot easier. So make sure you put yourselves first, and then you know that your working capital from year 1 on is a percentage of the sales. Then you have that down. You already know initial working capital because that's what you start with, and then you just take the change from year to year. And then it just gets, like I said, it gets tricky with that liquidation value. But if you know that it always has to match the year prior, just the negative sign or the opposite sign of that, you should definitely it should definitely be a lot easier for you.